Well, hello again. We have an unexpected video here. I did not expect to come out here so quickly. However, the temperature over the next 3 to 4 days is going to range from the 60s to the lower 70s. Well, I can't pass that up because the following week after that it's going to get really cold and probably be cold the rest of the year. So I've got to take advantage of the warm days. And I'm still having problems with my Zenith radio, okay, for those of you who might be interested in that. But we're narrowing it down bit by bit. What we're going to do today, I'm going to take off these hangers, off of that one, and off of that one right there. Then we're going to put it in this bucket right here. I'm going to wire brush them down first a little bit, get some of that rust off. Not a ton of it, just do whatever I can. Then we're going to put a couple of gallons of vinegar in there. We're going to throw them in there and let them soak for about a week or more. Then we're going to pull out the, let me get this, get the door up, just bumped my head there. We're going to get this differential out of here, which entails just, I'm going to have to wire brush each of these 9/16 nuts. They go all the way around the bottom, and then once I get that done, or get most of them loose anyway, I got to pull the axles out. You pull each of the axles out. Then we remove the rest of the nuts, like I said, 9/16. Then just lift that thing, put it around so it's vertical. The yoke right here is vertical. And then try to lift it out. It's going to be heavy. It's not going to be light. But I think I can get it out. And once I do that, all we'll have is the actual housing, the shaft and the housing. And the drums will be gone. It'll be much, much lighter, especially for when I put it back into the car. Brendan said I should leave it all in one piece and, take boards and jack them up. Man, I'd kill myself doing that. Better to do it this way, I think. Lighten it up, put them in there, and then later on jack up, the differential. And put that in on those studs. Piece of cake, actually. Here's a little trick I thought I'd show you. Brendan reminded me of this, and I had forgotten all about it. I remember seeing it many years ago. Once he mentioned it, I went, oh yeah, I forgot all about that. You'll remember the first time I took out this axle, I went down to O'Reilly and I got that wheel puller, that slide hammer with the wheel puller, and pulled the axle out. Well, there's another way to do it, and if you take your drum off and reverse the drum, and then take your lug nuts and put on like 3 of them, and then grab it on each side with your hand and just kind of pull it back a couple of times. Be careful not to damage the threads on the lug bolts, but it'll pull that baby right out. You don't have to, like I said in the first video, you don't have to gorilla the thing. You don't have to slam it. Just a couple of good pulls back, punk, 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 should pop that axle right out of there. So let's see if I can put the money where my mouth is. Well, there it is. Worked like a charm. All I got to do now is take the drum off, pull the axle out, and do the same thing to the other side. Well, both of the axles are out, and right now I'm separating the differential from the axle, what they call the axle housing. And, I just took a screwdriver and kind of pried it a little bit. I've also got a little breaker bar over there, a flat bar I'll stick down around the bottom. I think the ideal way to do this would be to try to get this thing up vertically, or I can pry downward and lift it up. Once I get it loose, both hands and a strong masculine back can get that thing out of there. She is ready to be lifted out. I've got it all loose, as you can see here. And each one of these studs, by the way, had a brass or a copper washer, a compression washer on it, I guess. Keep it from leaking. That's the way they did it back in the old days. I better get this thing out of here. I think it's going to rain. Well, that's what she looks like inside. I've got it sitting over here in this old plastic container. Let's see what we can pick around in there and find. Oh man, look at the crud in that thing, huh? We are going to have to do a lot of heavy cleaning in there. Oh man, got plenty of oil down here too. I'm going to have to get rid of it. Oh boy, lots of fun ahead, folks. But the best part about something like this, when you finally get it clean, it looks real nice. When you say, wow, what an improvement. It was worth the effort. Same thing over here. Still got the old mud wash nest. Look at that. They're just everywhere. Another one here. Anyway, the old boy that owned this car to begin with, the old man, there's no doubt in my mind he lived on a dirt road. This car is just covered with oil and dirt mixed. It's coffee time, and I need to check on wifey to make sure she's okay anyway. So I think what I'm going to do is turn this thing upside down on top of this plastic container. Just let it drain down there overnight. And that way I won't have to mess with so much crap later, and I can easily pour it out. And it's pretty light now that you have the rear end and the axles out. This thing is pretty darn light. I can just lift it right up in one hand, okay? Alright, I also got to get that backing plate off of there too. One of the best tools you can have in your toolbox, believe it or not, is a rubber mallet. You know, banging around on this stuff with a heavy metal mallet is not a wise thing to do. It puts dents, scratches, and it just sometimes it just bends them. You don't want to do that. Now this plate wants to be stubborn. So this is a mallet that I picked up at I think it was Lowe's for like $4. I mean, it's well worth the investment. You know, it doesn't have to be an expensive mallet. Let's see if I can get that thing off, at least get it to move. Let me move my arm here. Yeah, there we go. Okay. She's loose. Didn't take much. Try to have a rubber mallet in your toolbox. Coffee break over. Something I wanted to show you. These bushings on the shackle end of the spring. When you order new ones, you're going to get two pieces. One that goes in from this side and one that goes in from this side. Originally, apparently, I don't know how they did it, but they must have had a squisher where they could squish one end down, shove it through, and it would expand on the other end. But it was originally all one piece. As you can see right here, I had to take it out in chunks. That is not a single piece. That is not an individual piece. They are broken. It went in as one piece. So when it comes time for those of you who order bushings for leaf springs, don't be surprised if they say, well, you have to have two here and two there. That's because they come in from both sides, okay? You know, some of our subscribers have commented, they said they took out springs in their Thunderbird, I believe it was, and they had a lot of trouble with the rubber bushing on the one end where the hanger was. The bushing would seize up around the bolt in the center and they couldn't get it out. It wouldn't turn. Well, I have something similar to that, and that is the bolt goes round and round. No problem at all. I took the nut off. It had a flat, real heavy, thick metal retainer, and then a lock washer, and then a nut. One for each one. And I soaked them in liquid wrench, as you can see right there. And the liquid wrench went right on down to the other side, no problem at all, soaked all the way through on both of them, and I'm able to go ahead and turn that bolt using the nut on the other side, which is on the other side of this. This one turns just as easily, but it won't come out. It's free of the rubber bushing, but it won't come out. I've taken a board with a hammer and put the board against there, banged it, and it won't move, won't budge. Well, what a revolting development this is. They're both doing the same thing. I may have to resort to heat before it's over, but I'll tell you what, they look like they're copper. I'm not exactly sure. I don't know if I want to use any heat on that or not. Take a look at that. The entire thing is turning. Both the bolt, it appears it's a one-piece deal. Maybe a collar. I don't know. It might be a metal collar all the way through, or a metal cylinder all the way through, and then the bolt goes through. But the entire thing is turning, both the center bolt and whatever it is inside. Everything's turning inside the rubber, so everything is free. So why won't it come out? Well, I'll tell you what. It's getting a little late in the day, and I really don't feel like messing with it the rest of the day. I've accomplished pretty much what I wanted to do. You can see how much gook and crap has already dripped out of that rear end. That's going to be nice. I'm glad to see. And a lot of the solids came out too, as you can see. Looks like somebody took a dump in there. All right. I think what I'm going to do is soak it real good again, even though they're turning. Probably kind of a waste of liquid wrench, but I'll soak them again and slide the leaf springs in there, and we'll deal with it another day. So, short video. Sorry about that, but we learned something new today, didn't we? Yes, we did. All right. Until next time. Oh, one more thing. The one more thing is we'll soon be, well, I say soon as it gets really cold weather out there and I make a little more progress on this Zenith radio, we want to attack the rebuild on the Autolite 4100 carburetor. Now I'm going to go ahead and put it came without a choke, but we can get it a choke, and I'm going to put a electric choke in it, which will be going over here. It'll fit into there. But I need a dash pot. Does anybody have a dash pot that goes here? Mounts right here, and I'll show you a picture of one. Now the brackets are different. Some of the brackets are different on dash pots, even though they say they fit a 4100 Autolite. This one has a dash pot that has a single screw with a bump on the bracket that fits down in that hole right there. I'll show you a picture of one on the internet before I upload the video. But right now, we'll just go ahead and end this. Anybody have a dash pot? I'd appreciate it. Let me know. Now you can get them, yeah, you can get them online, but my God, they want a fortune for those things. It's crazy, it's ridiculous. The bracket almost costs more than a dash pot. It's just a little tiny piece of metal. Doesn't make much sense to me. Anyway, we're going to, hopefully one of you folks can help out. So until next time, this is John. Now there's the dash pot I'm talking about. It's the exact mounting bracket. It's got the hole with the dimple. It goes down the hole behind the screw. This is the screw that holds it to the base of the carburetor, and this is the dash pot. So we're still working on the dash pod. Brendan and I have both been trying to come up with something decently priced. But if you have an old bracket, I don't care. As long as it looks like that, it can have some rust on it. Doesn't matter to me. I can clean the rust off and paint it, make it look halfway decent. So if you can help out on that, I appreciate it. And of course, I've got my ever-present companion here, little buddy. Where's my buddy? All he does is sleep in my lap. All I got to do is come in. This is the dog that was afraid of men when we got him. The previous owner said it. Now all he wants to do is sit in my lap all the time. Wherever I go, he's right on my heels all the time. Buddy, buddy. He's my baby. He's a little sweetheart. How you doing? You doing pretty good today, huh? He says, I haven't seen much of Daddy today. He says, I've been out watching him work in the garage. If I go out toward the garage, he'll run out the back door and run all the way to the end of the dog run just to watch me disappear into the garage. He's a sweetheart. When it comes to tearing apart the rest of these springs, probably what I need is more cowbell.